Get it started. You ready? Okay. Dennis Lavely, I'm chairman of the Architectural Review Board, and we welcome you this evening. And we will call the roll and ask Katie Pepperdine to call the roll, if you would, please.
Chair Lavely.
Here.
Vice Chair Jones. Member Logia. Secretary Ritter.
Here.
Member Parsons.
Here.
Alternate Welker. Alternate Bartlesmeyer. Alternate Ratterman.
Here.
Council Liaison Clark.
Here.
And Commission Liaison Cohn.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, very good. And then Ms. Patterson, you will fill in because you, as an alternate, we have not our full complement here, so you're voting. That's it. Okay, very good. Approval of the minutes, July 13th, 2023 were distributed, and a motion would be in order to approve the minutes. Please.
I move to approve the minutes.
Okay, is there a second? We've got a second. Minutes moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The minutes of the July 13th, 2023 meeting are approved. And I didn't ask you any corrections or amendments, but that's fine. The agenda for tonight is that we will have a presentation regarding the Bank of America's sign. I guess I need to first ask, are there any public comments from anyone?
No attendees.
No public comments. All right. And then, so the new business, the Bank of America sign at 2412 Taylor. So I will ask the staff to introduce the application and the applicant, if you would, please.
All right, good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Our only case this evening involves a review of one new sign requiring a variance from the Board of Adjustment and associated with an existing financial institution located within our Wildwood Town Center at 2412 Taylor Road. And in front of you should be a map of our town center. This is the Deerberg Shopping Plaza, and the Bank of America is located adjacent to the Highway 100 there. The request in question for Bank of America involves an exception to the business signs attached to wall for the purpose of erecting one business sign attached to the wall of the building located at the subject property. This would thereby authorize a sign height of 33 inches in lieu of the required 24 inches and an overall size of 74 square feet in lieu of 50 square feet on the west elevation or front of the building. I might be needing you, Ms. Pepperdine. Okay, thank you. All right, so before you now is a picture of the existing building. And this is the facade of the building that is the subject of these variance requests. This building was built in 2004 and the signage was approved for it at that time. So this is the existing signage of the building. Next slide. Okay, this is just another perspective of that same facade. Next slide. This is looking south across the front elevation to give you a sense of the surrounding area. This is looking west towards Taylor Road in the parking lot. This is looking southeast. This is the retail strip beside the building with the associated signage. This is looking northeast at the one facade that does not have signage. This is the rear of the building or the eastern elevation. And this is looking towards Highway 100. And this is the drive-through. And we're looking west at this point. And that's another sign that exists on the building today. And that just gives you a perspective of where Highway 100 is in proximity to it. Next slide. All right, so there are three arrows in front of you because there are three signs associated with the plans for this building. So all three signs are being replaced. However, the sign in question or the subject of the variance request. Okay, sorry, I heard an echo. The sign in question that we're reviewing tonight involves the sign that will be placed on the front of the building or that western elevation. So that bottom arrow, and it looks like at least the laser is working on my pointer. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, did that actually work? Okay. All right. So my clicker is now working. All right, so here we're looking at the plans for that front facade and the signage associated with it. The applicant is asking for size and height variances to this signage. So as mentioned earlier, they're looking for signage that is 33 inches in height in lieu of the 24 inches and 73.2 square feet in lieu of 50 square feet in overall size. And it should be noted that this size and height is actually identical to the size and height that was approved for the previous signage. So you're looking at the same size. This sign will be internally lit as allowed or permitted by the planned commercial district. It's in the C8 planned commercial district. And the governing ordinance does permit the sign here to be internally illuminated. This sign has been reviewed by the department's lighting consultant, and it does comply with the Wildwood zoning code as it is featured here. However, our lighting consultant did make the recommendation that it be controlled by a dimmer instead of a toggle switch. And this was conveyed to the applicant last week. The rest of the signage featured in these plans is not the subject of a variance request. They do comply with the Wildwood zoning code. The objective of the Architectural Review Board this evening is to provide your comments, suggestions, and recommendations for these proposed plans. And then those comments, suggestions, and recommendations will be presented to the board members of the Board of Adjustment in the form of a written memorandum that I will be drafting and then sending for your review next week prior to the meeting. No action is therefore requested of the board this evening. And Chris Smith of Dale Sign Service is here to present as the applicant on behalf of Bank of America. Thank you. And if you have any questions, of course, I am here to answer them.
Hello, Chris Smith at Dale Sign Service, representing Bank of America. Any questions? Pretty straightforward.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'm looking at the original, the sign that's on there now, and it has the red bar across the bottom, and it shows that it will be removed. But so my question is, did the red bar, was that part of the sign? And was that in the measurements that were approved as the height of the entire sign?
Okay, so that is a question for the department. So I'll go ahead and answer that. Per the zoning authorization of the previous signage, that red bar was not included as part of the signage and the size calculations.
Any other questions? So this really is simply a replacement of an existing sign.
Yeah, the company's simply rebranding their logos. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That question.
please.
So electrical, I see 190 watts. This is a white. I don't know.
Well, this is going to be, we've done a couple of Pet Supplies Plus in the area, which has nothing to do with this job. But they wanted the white letters during the day. And what's going to happen with the white letters, they're going to be illuminated with blue LEDs in the evening. Where all the white is, except where the red part of the red flag, it's going to have red LEDs. So it's really going to not be a very, oh yes, it's not, it won't be a very bright sign. Yeah. In my professional, it's the wrong way to go, but that's not my call. It's the branding of the corporation.
Go ahead, Ms. Clark.
Thank you, Chair. So what is the reason that you need it larger than what we've, the city has given regulations for signs, and why would we approve this? Why would we approve a
Look,
larger sign?
it's-
I know
I'm sorry.
that it's been approved in the past, but just because it was done wrong doesn't mean that it should be done wrong still. I'm just asking why do you need it to be larger than what the city asked?
So if you look at the other elevations, can you show her the other elevations? Somebody. Either what is the east or the east and north? Those elevations, are undersized. She gets to the proposed ones. Aesthetically, if we put the size of the sign on the front of the building where it goes, it's going to be very small. It won't look right in that section at all.
Thank you. My question still is, we have regulations for all the other businesses.
Okay.
And ask them to keep with the same,
Okay.
within the same regulations. And other than the way it looks, is there some other reason we haven't?
No, ma'am, I just think they went with the head. You folks have a kind of a strange code compared to everybody else in the county. All right, you have a 5% square foot that most of the county and most of the municipalities support that same thing. You guys put a limit on the height of 24-inch high overall height, whether that's one line or two lines. But that makes the most of the customers in your area have a much smaller area than 5% because of that 24-inch height. I went through the same thing with the SSM physical therapy over on Old Manchester. So it's a tough code. It's a tough code to meet with signs and try to keep everybody happy. I understand your code and you want to keep it that way, but putting a 24-inch height on there's something it's still not the 5% of the square foot. It is that's kind of a different animal with that 24-inch maximum height. You know, the original sign was much larger than what, I mean, outside of, I know the red bar, they didn't include it for some reason. I have no idea why. That should have been included in the square footage originally. No, I believe it's the 32.
If I may, the way I was reading the plans, the lettering is 24 inches and what brings it to the 33 inches is the logo.
Is the
Yep.
logo. Yes. I'm sorry, one more time. The Bank of America with the 32-inch tall logo, the Bank of America is 16 inches tall. The letters are.
So the letters are actually getting smaller.
You know what? I don't know that answer. I'm sorry.
Well, I can look and count bricks and see that that's 24-inch tall letters
On the top one,
on the front of the building.
on the front of the building, the new proposed or the old ones?
The old ones are 24-inch tall letters, capital letters.
See where that is at. 24.9.
Yeah.
That would probably,
So the text is actually getting smaller.
yeah, yes, sir. I believe so.
Okay.
The sign overall is not taking as much area as the original one existing now.
That's all I needed.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? So in 2004, this was approved even though it was out, did the code change? Or it was approved with this particular code in place?
I wasn't here for that. I couldn't tell you, sir.
Does the staff know that?
So in 2004, the code, it was under different requirements than we have now. The code, the signage code and other aspects of the code have gone through several revisions since then.
Any other questions?
No,
And we simply need to provide a recommendation, is that correct?
That's right. Tonight, we're looking for your comments, suggestions, and recommendations in regards to this variance request and the signage.
And what I think I heard was that the staff is recommending that it should be controlled by a dimmer rather than a toggle switch.
That was recommended by the lighting consultant for the department, yes.
And is that something that if we're going forward would be part of our recommendations if we so desired, or does it matter?
That could certainly be part of your comments here this evening.
I have another question.
Please, go ahead.
Is it a dimmer or a photocell?
They're requesting a dimmer, I'm sorry, a dimmer. Something to be able to control the brightness of the LEDs, which they're going to be very muted behind the white plexi. I'm not sure what the existing controller of the electric to the signs is at this moment. Usually they're on either time clocks or dusk to dawn photocells. I'm not sure what this site is set up for right now.
Please.
I suppose with a dimmer, I would ask that we have something that tells us what the color temperature is, the tolerance in the color temperature from warm to cold. What is that tolerance that it can be turned all the way up or turned all the way down so that we can know? I don't think it's measured in lumens anymore. But I would ask for that. And also, I guess I'm pretty much a stickler on the regulations, and that we should change the regulations if we're going to approve often to go beyond them or to stretch the tolerance. So I would say we need to stay within the square footage. And do we have to measure from the top of that logo all the way over to, I mean, it's only that one little square that is that tall. So that takes up a lot of space in your measurement that has nothing there. So is there a way to measure the square footage of what's showing instead of because it looks like the measurement goes all the way across. And that's taller than the letters. And so that it's like empty space you're measuring.
Are you referring, so you're referring to the height measurement in this case?
Yeah. So that because my question is, are we just having this one rectangle around the top measurement and the length measurement, instead of going, okay, this has this many square feet in the logo, and then let's measure just the letters, because it seems to me like we're measuring a lot of empty space for that sign that doesn't need to be measured. But maybe we don't do it that way. I don't.
That certainly might be a bigger picture discussion.
You're making my case.
Please.
Right, so when this goes before the Board of Adjustment, This is basically because corporate decided they want to change their logo. And that's the reason why there's a request to the Board of Adjustment on the variance. It's not a financial hardship. It's simply because Bank of America corporate decided this is their new logo, correct?
Yeah, they went through a rebranding. Yes.
Right.
Yes. And then the branding's not that far off. I mean, they changed, they went to all capital letters instead of upper lowercase. They've eliminated the red striping below it. The flag, they call it the flag logo, is still the same. They have not gotten rid of that. But what's happening is this building here, the letters are old and faded. They're lit with neon, high voltage neon right now. They're wanting to isolate everything down in low voltage LEDs. So it's the right thing to do.
I
It's the
understand
right
that,
thing to do.
to bring the update
Yeah.
design. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to draw on memory when I was on the Board of Adjustment, when State Farm did the same type of thing, rebranded their signage.
Yes, sir.
And the State Farm, I guess, agent or franchisee requested a variance from the board for a larger sign. And to my knowledge, I think we denied it.
Yeah,
Nothing to do with anything other than to conform with the existing ordinance.
sure.
But here's the same instance where a national corporation wants to make everything standardized, but not necessarily to conform with Wildwood's regulations. So I don't know if that's even in our area of purview or not, or is that strictly for the Board of Adjustment? Robin, can you help me there?
The Board of Adjustment will be determining if there is an adequate hardship case to be made here. The Architectural Review Board will be making comments, recommendations and suggestions based on your expertise as design review. So that's going to help the board help shape their opinion or their decision, I should say, next week. But you're not making that decision for them.
So what's going to happen is if they force to comply with the 24-inch tall, so 24 to 32, what is that, 10 or 15%, you're going to lose that in length. Okay. Aesthetically, that sign, if it shrinks that in length, is going to absolutely not look like it should belong on that building. It's going to look like the other elevations. They're very, very small. You know what I mean? They've decided this is their main entrance. It's the farthest one that's seen from the farthest distance in the parking lot. I think that's the reason why they're wanting to stay with the same size. Yeah.
Any other questions? What's the pleasure of the board? In other words, a motion might be in order to either approve, disapprove, take no action, or approve with recommendations such as I heard the issue with regarding temperature or the toggle dimmer or whatever. So I'm just throwing out some of the comments that I heard raised.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes.
So we're not looking for an action from this board this evening unless there's a strong unanimous position that the board wants to take on this matter. What we're looking to do is summarize your comments, suggestions, and recommendations as we did with the last similar case, which in some cases, some disagreed, and we tried to capture both of that in the memorandum that we then sent out to the board the next week.
So no motion needed. You're simply capturing the comments of the discussion that have occurred.
That is correct. So if you have something to say about this, now is your opportunity.
Okay. All right. Any comments? Then anything final in terms of the staff report? If not, we complete this item in the agenda. Am I correct? I mean, is there anything else we need to address with this?
The department has no additional comments. Just again, if there is a strong feeling one way or another, please just make sure we capture it for the record. Thank you.
Well, one last chance. Any strong feelings one way or the other?
For the sign.
For the sign over here. So
I'm for the sign.
I just agree with the lighting consultant that there should be a rheostat or dimmer control. I assume it's going to be a photoelectric cell, but at least the ability on certain days to control the brightness, I think, is not a bad.
I think it's going to be a manual dimmer. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be like the electronic message machines that pick up the sunlight and adjust to that. It'll be a manual dimmer. They'll have to control that. I can say this, okay? The entire complex to the south of them, all the way down Dearborg's Plaza, okay? There's not one sign in there that has a dimmer, okay? All their signs are gonna be brighter than this sign. But the fact that first off, blue is the lowest lumens LED. If you ever drive around, the hardest sign to read at night is blue. I cannot believe they went this direction. That's their deal. That's their call. And the red typically behind a red lens is one of the brighter colors. It's going to be muted behind this white face. You're not going to have an issue. We'll set up dimmers. I think we've got emails about that. But this sign is not going to blow anybody's eyeballs out at night, I promise you. It just won't.
Does it, do the lights come on automatically at sunset?
I don't know the controller at this time. It'll either be a time clock or a photo cell.
Instead of relying on human intervention and turn them on?
No, it'll be a time clock,
Okay,
a mechanical time clock.
Yeah.
That'll be set for whatever the time is, 5 a.m, and go off at midnight, back on at 5 a.m, whatever they set the timer at. I don't think it'll be run any different than it's ran now. But I just don't know if it's on a dusk of dawn photo cell or on time clock at this time. I'm sorry, I don't know that.
Please.
Okay, just to reiterate what I had asked for, that we have, instead of just, it's gonna be, not be that bright, to have what is the measurement, what are the kelvins? And what are the target and what times those are gonna be changed? And, yeah, I'm not in favor until we know if the sign can be measured without that empty space. I think it's fine. If the sign has to be measured with that empty space, I'm not totally in favor of that, just because of the code.
Well, as it states now, if you include the red bar, it's the square footage is up there. It's 111 square feet now, and we're going to drop it to 73 square feet. That includes the empty space around the entire rectangle of the sign. So, and that's what that is. Yes, ma'am.
All right, anything else? If not, I think that concludes that item of the agenda, and I don't believe we have anything else on the agenda. Am I correct on that? Other than our next meeting date, if needed, would be Thursday, September 14th, 2023. And I have no closing remarks. Does staff have any other closing remarks?
We do not. We are still planning that training for you, but we don't have anything set in stone yet.
Okay.
Thank you for your service this
All right.
evening.
And with that, a motion to adjourn is in order.
Thank you, folks.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Motion, second. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.